Ever wonder if the food that you're eating is actually making your medication not work properly? We're going to talk about that today. Welcome to Talking with Docs. I'm Dr. Brad Wynn.
I'm Dr. Paul Zalza. But before we go on, we're not going to go on until you subscribe.
Okay, we're going to hold you hostage.
Yeah, it's called tough love, just like when you fertilize a baby.
When you what? You fertilize the baby like a lawn?
What did I say? Fertilize? No,
Fertilize.
No, federalize.
It's not a political thing with your baby.
When you Febreze the baby. What is it when you let the baby cry? You let the baby cry and then you don't go in until the longer period.
You sit outside the door?
Justin Bieber eyes?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Leave a comment if you know what that is.
Okay.
All right, fine. Now that I think everyone's subscribed. Everyone's got to have subscribed after that exchange.
Please shut up. So it's understandable that things that you put in your stomach, like your food, can potentially interact with your medications. Lots of times it doesn't make a difference.
It stands to reason.
It stands to reason. Yes, but there are a few specific examples I'm going to talk about that you need to be aware of, not afraid of, but aware of, so that, hey, if your meds maybe aren't quite working properly, maybe it's because you're doing X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
So we're going to go in.
X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, that made some people mad.
Yeah, and I saw some comments.
Some Canada, US stuff. Yeah. Hey, I'm not going to Americanize my alphabet.
Right. So if you're south of the border, you're X, Y, and Z. If you're up here with us, it's X, Y, and Z.
Zeds did.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to go in descending order.
Yeah.
They're all kind of important, but
random order.
We're going to start at number 5, the top 5. So number 5 is dairy products and how they affect certain antibiotics. So dairy, or really anything that has a lot of calcium or a calcium supplement. Calcium is a 2 positive charge.
Yeah.
So
2 plus.
2 plus. So it has potential to bind negatively charged medications. So specifically 2 classes. So tetracycline, commonly used for acne and some other infectious diseases.
Antibiotic.
As well as fluoroquinolones, another antibiotic, and a lot of people have heard of this, Cipro or ciprofloxacin. There's some other in that category, including levofloxacin that I feel like we used a lot 25 years ago. I'm not sure how much they use it now, but it was a strong one back then.
Yeah.
So when you take dairy at the same time as these antibiotics, the calcium can bind them and prevent them from being broken down or absorbed properly, so they become less effective or you have a lower concentration. Like we talked about before, if your antibiotic does not get to a certain concentration, it kind of suppresses the bacteria but doesn't kill them all.
Yeah.
So it won't cure it.
It has to get to a certain level in your blood before it can have its effect on the bacteria, known as the MIC.
The MIC. So what I would say is, if you like dairy or if you're eating dairy and you're taking these antibiotics, just time it in a way that they're not done together.
Okay, fair.
Number 5.
So number 5. So number 4 on the list of things that you shouldn't ingest while you're taking medication would be alcohol.
Yes.
All right? And this one is kind of an obvious thing because if you're taking some kind of sedative or anything with a sedative effect, such as a narcotic or a sleeping pill or sometimes even anti-nausea or antihistamines and things like that. So if you consider the sedating effects of alcohol superimposed on the sedating effects of the medication that you're taking, whether it's a sleeping pill, a narcotic, or an antihistamine or something like that, then you can end up in a situation where you're really sedated, at risk for falling. Definitely don't drive in this situation.
You'd be confused.
More so than usual. So you really have to be careful with alcohol, with just about any medication.
And even worse, I'd say, is that it reduces your drive to breathe. So it can lower your breathing rate, and theoretically, and unfortunately people have died because of this, because of a combination of alcohol and pills, that it reduces their brain level drive to breathe, and then they
crash their car and put it on the front page of the newspaper if you're a famous person. So that seems to happen every now and again, right?
You did that, eh? Okay.
Well, I didn't name any names.
Yeah, I know. There are actually probably lots of them. Okay, so number 3 is vitamin K containing vegetables and warfarin or Coumadin. So this is a medication that thins our blood. Help reduce your risk of getting a stroke, particularly from things like atrial fibrillation, and actually measured by something called your INR. And so if your blood's too thin, one of the medications that we give to make it not thin, often to facilitate surgery, is vitamin K.
Right.
So if you're taking vegetables, particularly green leafy vegetables and brassicas, so kale, spinach, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts.
All the fun stuff.
It actually is the fun stuff, and it's the good for you stuff. These can reduce the effectiveness of your medication. So it's not specifically just taking them that's the problem. It's big changes. So if you increase the amount of salads that you're eating that have kale and have spinach in them, this could reduce the effectiveness of your medication.
If I read between the lines here, is a plant-based eater telling us not to eat vegetables?
So no. Paul, don't do that. Don't do that. what I
You
would,
sound like my wife.
but what I would say is that the other problem is if not only if you increase the consumption of these, but if you acutely decrease the consumption of these, that could actually increase the effectiveness of your medication or make you at a bleeding risk. So a stable vitamin K containing vegetable consumption, and then your INR could be tweaked with your family doctor's assistance, according to what your blood tests look like. So beware, they're still very, very good for you. The benefits grossly outweigh the risks. It's just those big changes that your doctor needs to know about.
The good news is we don't use a lot of warfarin.
Trending away.
It's
cheap
because we have these direct oral anticoagulants.
Yeah.
But it was used a lot.
I think still eat your kale. Come on.
Okay, fine. Just stop your blood thinner.
That's right.
The plant-based eater chooses the veggie instead of the medicine. Don't do that. Okay, number 2 on the list of things that you have to be careful when you ingest when you're taking certain medications is fiber.
Right.
We talk about fiber so much on this channel. We love fiber, can't get enough fiber, eat your fiber. However, as fiber does, it increases the transit time, takes those toxins out of your body, takes all the bad things that you eat through your system quickly so they don't have an effect. It also does that with antibiotics, which are kind of like a poison, right? Or other medications. Like
levothyroxine, one of the big ones.
Thyroxine, which is, it's tough to get your thyroid hormones controlled. So if you have changes in how much that medicine's being absorbed, that'll change that. There's some older diabetes medicines and some types of antidepressants as well can be affected by fiber, just increasing the transit time and not giving your body enough time to absorb the medication.
In particular for fiber supplements, so if you're taking Metamucil, whether it's gummies or powder or whatever, and when it forms that gel kind of wraps around, just like it does to all those toxins or even to fat or cholesterol that we're trying to reduce with these things, it does the same thing to your medication. So so not that you shouldn't take fiber, but any recommendations of a way to still get your fiber but still get your therapeutic doses?
I think if you give yourself a little window of time, like 2 hours-ish, maybe have your fiber wait 2 hours before you take your meds, or if you've had your meds, wait 2 hours before you eat a fiber-rich diet. And then you should be okay.
And I think a lot of pharmacists or doctors would recommend, even empty stomach for certain pills.
Some pills.
Ironically, other times they're like, no, you got to take it on a full stomach, so you just got to be aware of what medication you're taking.
You got to ask your pharmacist. There's certainly some antibiotics they say take with a full stomach.
Sure. I even think the same thing for fat-soluble vitamins. So if you're taking your vitamin D that's fat-soluble, you got to be a little bit careful with the fiber supplements because they might be dragging your vitamins into your toilet instead of doing the good things that you're taking them for. The last one. This is a really interesting one, and I wonder how people figure this out, but it's actually grapefruit. So eating grapefruit blocks a very specific enzyme, CYP3A4. And this enzyme is responsible for breaking down a lot of medications. The 2 classes of medications that are probably the most important are statins and calcium channel blockers. So statins are a cholesterol-lowering medication. Sorry if that triggers you. And number 2
is a whole video on statins.
Is calcium channel blockers that are used sometimes to lower your blood pressure, sometimes to control your rhythm, to stabilize some gentle arrhythmias. So it reduces the breakdown of these. So actually can make those medications more effective. So if you're like, so what? It's going to lower my cholesterol more? Well,
side effects.
Maybe, but probably more on the side effects. So what's going to happen to these people?
Oh, well, statins are the muscle aches, right? You have muscle aching, muscle breakdown, that kind of stuff. It's like overdosing on statins.
Right, and there even have been rare cases of rhabdomyolysis. Interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's a nasty grapefruit.
Which is severe breakdown of your muscle.
Have you ever eaten an entire grapefruit?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. You have not?
No. Oh, they're so bitter.
Yeah, so
we put like a bunch of sugar on it.
I remember growing up with that. So you cut them in half, and then you actually had to use a knife to kind of loosen up all those little triangles.
I'm getting like that. Feeling that.
I felt like it was like a make-work project. Leave a comment if you like grapefruit. And then I thought, I wonder.
Have an orange.
You know when grapefruit diets was a little bit of a fad, like eat a grapefruit and you could lose weight by eating grapefruit.
You don't eat anything for 2 hours.
And I kind of Googled it and said, is this the cause? Is this how we found this out? And they're like, not really. Grapefruit probably just helps you eat less calories, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I used to like that grapefruit soda. What was it called? Wink?
No,
Wink.
and is Fresca grapefruit based too?
Fresca is grapefruit based too.
Yeah.
So I guess I do eat grapefruit then.
Yeah,
I like a Fresca
I think a Greyhound actually is vodka and grapefruit juice, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a cousin of the screwdriver?
Yes. Yeah, just different juice. Leave a comment if you eat any of these foods, if you had any of these troubles, if you've went to your doctor and your doctor's like, what's going on, man? Why is your thyroxine not working? And now you're like, hey, maybe this was the reason.
My bottom line from this is speak with your pharmacist. They are very knowledgeable about all these kinds of things. And look at those little stickers they put on your pill bottles. Take with food, don't take with food, don't take with alcohol. These are the reasons we just went through. That's what came about. That's why these warnings came about. So check with your pharmacist whenever you get a new medication and just figure out how you have to correlate it with what food you usually eat.
I would also say if you're making a big change in your diet and then something in your health changes, maybe for the negative, maybe mention that to your doctor and say, hey, by the way, I only eat grapefruit now.
Yeah.
Then they'd be like, hey, because they might not think to ask that question because there's obviously so many different questions they would have to ask. You'd never get to the rest of your appointment.
I don't think I've ever asked my patients if they eat grapefruit.
So what's your grapefruit consumption like?
Yeah. Get that down.
Okay. Now you know. If you like this video, please like it. Please subscribe to our channel. Share it with someone who you know is maybe having trouble with their thyroxine levels or taking too much fiber or eating too many grapefruits.
That's it. And remember, you are in charge of your own health.
We'll see you next time.